But it's time for our main event because that's the thing. Collision, it's a wrestling flavored program. They'll get you at the start with something pretty good. They will sprinkle a few things in the middle, and you know they're going to produce by the time the show is over with the main event. And it was nice to see Jim Ross back on television. He's had apparently, now we found out the fall where he bashed his face in was due to severe sciatica where his legs gave way, because I'm pretty sure that that's what was going on. You remember 2 years ago, Brian, when I couldn't walk for 2 weeks from bending over?
Yeah.
That was a flare-up of an injury that I had from my sciatic nerve. And I don't know if I would have even though it was very painful and awkward, I don't know if that would even be severe sciatica if a doctor diagnosed it. So severe, he's been miserable, I guarantee you. So he's had a bad back, possible infection on his radiation wound from his skin cancer, and fell and gave himself a concussion. So he's been off for a few weeks. But that's what they should do. Bring him back and put him with a professional announce team that doesn't involve sock face sucking all the oxygen out of the room, and let him do the main event. And that I thought was very well done. And Ricky Steamboat, the special referee, on the floor, as we found out. His hair is gray, but he still looks great for Ricky is 70 now, or got to be, right?
Has to be.
So he looks good. But as we mentioned, or as I just mentioned, he's the referee on the floor, and they had a regular referee in the ring. And I don't know that the regular referee in the ring did anything that Ricky couldn't have done, to be honest with you. But it was a long match. So, but I'd probably find out Steamboat's got better cardio than everybody involved. Anyway, here comes Starks and gets lots of cheers and, accolades. And then, like a Mussolini in South Carolina, here comes Punk, and he again has a ball milking the various reactions. And he can play with them, because at one point in this match, a couple of subtle things he was doing was making Starks the babyface and getting the people to boo him even more than the ones that were. But by the end of the thing, Starks ends up being the heel, and they're cheering Punk for helping Steamboat. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. JR made the point that I think they need to start making on all the programs, not just Saturday night, that Punk is the real world champion because nobody has beaten him. And on Wednesday night, since MJF is so popular now and the Buckaroo fans are more inclined to watch that program, that'll just get him more heat with those people. Here they did the big dueling chants, and that's this match. Their main events on Collision have an atmosphere. People want to see it. They're not just wanting to see, we want tables, we want filing cabinets, we want a credenza. They want someone in the match to do something positive, right? There's a difference in just watching a fucking display and being in support of somebody. So I don't think we need to go play by play through the match, because it was a long one too. They put in time on these main events, which helps that the other matches on the program are not inordinately burdensomely long. But it made sense. They wrestled. And the way that the match was constructed, they wrestled at first, then the tempers flared, and they traded slaps with each other. But even like when Starks would do the Steamboat arm drags and Punk would take them and then he slid out afterwards. That was a subtlety to get the people behind Starks. Punk slid out. It's just little things. And, they went back and forth through a couple of different breaks. And they had a heck of a match, except at one point, Was it? It's Starks usually gets a little excited in some of these big match situations, isn't it? Has he done this before?
Has he done what before?
Well, I mean, get a little excited and blank out, lose track.
I don't remember that happening.
Too quick or whatever. I think there's been a time or two, but nevertheless, boom, boom, boom. Punk goes up to the top rope and is there for a second. And is there, and there, Starks is down, right, selling. But he's up there, and then you see his lips move. He's telling Starks something, right? And then he says it again. And at that point, Starks gets up and starts coming in for a crossbody off the top rope. Apparently, it was supposed to be Starks was going to stagger up. Punk was going to crossbody him. Starks was going to roll through and hook the leg, 1-2, whatever, false finish, right? But Punk's up there, and he said something. He said it again as suddenly Starks bolts to his feet, and Punk comes off with the crossbody. And Starks was already close, and Punk didn't look like he was trying to get any height. He looked like he was just trying to come off and come down on him. But Starks took another little stutter step in and then raised his arms when he realized that Punk was going to go over top of his head. So Punk went over the top of Starks's head, but Starks caught him with his right arm, and it took them fucking both down. And so Starks still rolled through, but when he rolled over, he came up knees first on Punk's fucking face, apparently, it looked like. 2 count. So besides that, which was unfortunate, they really had all this shit going. And boom, boom, boom. I think at one point, did you see where Ricky was doing the rope walk and Punk jerked him off the top rope across his shoulders into the GTS position, but Starks dropped behind? He should have put more, and I'm being this minute now because these guys are worth critiquing. It's not like it's just a complete fucking mess and there's no hope. He should have put more oomph in shoving Punk off into the post, because Punk went and took a great post, but Starks just gave him a little shove and then ran to the opposite corner so he could get in position for the next charge. But Punk was selling the post, and he didn't need to be there that quick. So he should really put his follow through a little bit better. Anyway, boom, boom, boom. I mean, they went back and forth. Everything worked. Everything looked good. And then finally, Starks hits an Alabama slam, gets a 2 count. And as they're coming up, they bump the in-ring referee. And Starks top spreads Punk and puts his feet on the ropes, but Steamboat on the floor knocks the feet off the ropes. So Starks turns around like, what the fuck are you doing? And at that point, Punk schoolboys him, and Steamboat rolls in and counts 1, 2, 3. And that was a great, the finish was fine because that's a special referee and you're making use of him. I still can't figure out why Ricky couldn't have been in the ring up until then. I think it would have flowed a little better, but maybe he's got some kind of insurance requirements or whatever for his hospitalization or whatever he had. Maybe he's got a policy with fucking Lloyd's of London. What'd you think of this match?
I thought it was all right. Yeah, I really can't add too much to what you say. It got sloppy at a couple different points, but I thought it was all right. As far as Steamboat, obviously they did the referee bump that got him involved in the ring. It was either they wanted to do that spot really, really badly, or there's a reason Steamboat wasn't going to work the whole match. I mean, he looks like he's in great shape. I think he may have had some, if not heart issues, he's had issues in the past with something.
No, he was doing something with the WWE and had some kind of either concussion or brain thing or whatever. And that's why he hasn't worked. But what I'm saying is I think he should have been in there, even when they bumped the referee. If Ricky could have rolled in then to take over and Starks does the top spread with the feet, he could have done it from inside the ring. It took a second. I think the pop would have come a little louder and a little quicker if as soon as the schoolboy happened, if Ricky had been there instead of having to roll in. But anyway, the point is now we got to do some business. So as Steamboat hands Punk the belt, and Punk holds his arm up and hugs him, Starks comes from behind and blisters Steamboat. And Steamboat knocks Punk off the ring. That was a nice little bing bing. So that, and at the same time, Ricky didn't have to take a bump. He just went into Punk. Punk took the bump, and Ricky crumpled. And then Starks got on Steamboat, and the punches were weak, but I understand. I'm not taking off any points for that. But he got Ricky's belt off and started whipping him with it. And that's what they wanted, because Steamboat got to do the Ricky Steamboat selling with the body language, cringing, and the facials. He's not taking a bump, but he's doing the selling of the pain, which he was noted for. And that was brilliant. See, it was like when Buster Keaton would be in a 1950s TV show and you'd get a chance to see a master at work from 30 years previously. And then Punk comes in with a chair and runs Starks off, and great deal because nothing's settled. Starks cheated, but Punk took advantage of a situation. Nobody's been beat flat. Starks was the heel when he left because he was beating up Ricky Steamboat in South Carolina. And then the people were chanting, CM Punk, CM Punk. So that they can change course in midstream.
The punches looked like shit.
Yes, but it's Steamboat, and he had a brain hemorrhage or whatever.
Hey, listen, he's so good at selling. Starks had heat with me by the end of it.
Yeah, but I think actually he probably should have just not done punches, and so a couple of stomps would have been sufficient.
The fact that they did this to Steamboat, I mean, Steamboat has to appear on TV again. This isn't a one-off thing, you would think, right?
Well, I don't know, to be honest, because I mean, it served a purpose in that Punk gets a win back over Starks, but settles nothing, and it didn't diminish Starks. They were in the Carolinas. Steamboat works there for the live audience. I don't know if you want to bring him back and program him, unless there's, another interview appearance or something else where, Starks might get involved with him or whatever, but I don't think it's going to be an ongoing situation. I don't think it's called for again, but if they have an idea in mind, I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I don't think it's going to go on long term.
All right. Well, that was Collision.
And we collided with Collision, but you know what, Brian? The thing is, at this point in time, it's a Saturday night, and now it's past 10 o'clock Eastern time, and we've still got SummerSlam to go. It's time to start drinking, because you got to modify your mood. You got to modify your mood. You got to give yourself a little hope to go on. And I'm not talking about the strong stuff, folks. I'm not talking about going out and getting some of the old homicide, that 150 proof stuff. I'm not talking about setting fire to some Everclear. I'm talking about enjoyable, sociable, alcoholic beverages for adults in the way of wine, personalized wine boxes delivered on your schedule to your home, to your taste and your preferences, courtesy of our brand new friends at First Leaf. Now, I know when you hear First Leaf, you might think that they're involved in some other kind of business like gardening, but that is not the case, folks. You love First Leaf because they make it super easy to get personalized wine boxes delivered on my skin. When you pull the wine out of the box, Brian, you'll see it's personalized. It has Brian Last or Jim Cornette or whatever your name is right on the bottle. And it says Vintage Tuesday.
Keep going. I want to see where else you're going to go with this.
Well, see, that's the box that I think they just got me a special box.
Really?
That's what it is.
That's very nice
But
of them.
it's summertime.
Yes.
And you got family fun going on, family vacations, camping trips, pool parties, barbecues. And if you're going to have that many kids around you, you've got to have alcohol in stock. For all the adults, you got to have some great wine at the ready, and plenty of it, folks. So right now, the people at First Leaf are stomping the grapes just for you, and they're getting all these rosés and white wines and terrific reds and sparkling pinks and all the different kinds of wine. And what you do is you go to Try, firstleaf.com, tryfirstleaf.com, and you just answer questions about your likes and dislikes, what you like the taste of, what you don't. For example, if you like the sparkling wines and the rosés and the various fruity flavors, you would say that. If you don't like the taste of battery acid, put that down. They will not send you any wine with battery acid in it.
That's a guarantee.
Yes, because they don't want to send you anything you don't want. They're big on customer service. But again, if you want battery acid, I guess they'll do their best. But most Surgeon Generals over the last 20 years have recommended you cut down on your consumption of battery acid.
I'm pretty sure the side effects of death may prevent them from using battery acid in any of the wonderful wines you can get from tryfirstleaf.com, of course, /JCE, wonderful reds and whites and all sorts of other things you can get.
Colors, all the colors of the rainbow. And you're right, acid does have implications on your health. Do they have any blue wine? There's no blue food. I've seen sparkling pinks and rosés and reds and whites, but is there blue wine? Seems like with the blueberries and the raspberries, you'd have the blues and the purples. We'll come back to that. Again, it's tryfirstleaf.com /JCE, because you got to slash that JCE, because when you sign up, you're going to get your first 6 hand-curated bottles of any type of wine that you want for just $44.95. Your personalized wine shipments are delivered right to your door. And be careful now, keep an eye out, because you can schedule these things when you want them. Let's say you're going to go out, visit your parole officer. You're afraid that the wine is going to come while you're gone and some porch pirate or turd burglar or whoever they are is going to steal it. Well, no, because you can schedule these the day that you're in-home incarcerated, so you will not miss the delivery. And you can just kick back and enjoy them right there. Everybody wants to be a wino, and every selection is backed by First Leaf's 100% satisfaction guarantee. So go to tryfirstleaf.com /JCE. When you sign up, you're going to get your first 6 hand-curated bottles for just $44.95. They hand-curate the bottles, Brian, but the wine, they just get a big vat, and they just kind of get one of those funnels and just pour the wine out of the vat into all the different hand-curated bottles. But it's delicious.
It's delicious, and there's no big vat involved. It's big taste and wonderful wine coming to you from tryfirstleaf.com /JCE.
If the wine is hand-curated, wouldn't they say 6 hand-curated bottles of wine instead of just 6 hand-curated bottles? Am I playing semantics here with their curation?
Possibly.
Well, therefore, folks, check it out for yourself. Make your own decisions. You be the judge. Tryfirstleaf.com /JCE. You're going to get your first 6 bottles for under $8 a bottle. My God, that's cheaper than Thunderbird. That's cheaper than Ripple. Do you know what you get, Brian, when you cross eggnog with Ripple?
No.
Egg nipple. Do you know what you get when you cross champagne with Ripple?
No, what?
Shampipple. Tryfirstleaf.com /JCE. But are they drinking plenty of wine over there at the Arcadian Vanguard Network these days, Brian?
Some of the hosts are, some of them aren't, but we will not disclose that here. But you can find out more on the Arcadian Vanguard Podcast Network. Get information about all the shows on Twitter at Superpodcasts or on Facebook at facebook.com /Arcadian Vanguard. It's one of those moments, I don't know if there's too much noise behind me or no noise behind me.
I hear nothing.
Well, then I speak of nothing, but let me tell you about what's going on this week. Of course, the wrestling news each and every day. Get your free daily wrestling newscast. All the news, none of the opinion. Get it today for free. TheWrestlingNews.com or wherever you find your favorite podcast. Look for Arcadian Vanguard's The Wrestling News. Want to make mention of this week's episode of Shut Up and Wrestle with Brian Solomon. His guest, Jessica, the daughter of Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Yes, I retweeted this. I haven't had a chance to listen, but I want to.
We want to thank Paul Heyman for helping promote it this week. But hear the daughter of the brain, hear all about Bobby the Brain Heenan, the man outside the ring. Check this out today, a really great episode, suawpod.com, or look for Shut Up and Wrestle with Brian Solomon wherever you find your favorite podcasts. And of course, the 605 Super Podcast, The Mothership! Go through the archive today at 605pod.com or available wherever you find your favorite podcasts. The Mothership.